everyone to this webinar. This session today, before we start, let me just give you some quick guidelines. We will be recording this session for you to see it later if you want, if you miss some information, or for others who were not able to join. We will have the Q&A session at the end, but please feel free to start posting your questions. There is some icons in your screen at the bottom of the screen. The second one, it says activities. You can click there, and there is another icon for Q&A. Please go ahead, feel free to post your questions. We will wait at the end, but while we flow, I don't want you to stop or maybe to forget what you want to know. Thanks again for joining. Thanks again for your time. We're getting close to the holidays, so that means sometimes it could be a little slow in terms of business, but it can be also very ethic in terms of celebrations and holidays. So thank you so much for taking the time to join today. Today we will be talking about Mexico. I will give you relevant information on how to establish a company and some tips on how you can do it efficiently. I hope I'll give you some clarity on some challenges or most common challenges we're entering to new countries, as well as a solution on how to overcome to those ones. Before to move forward in the QA session, if you can just quickly tell me where are you joining from, what country, and what industry you are at. That can give me some insights or, what kind of flavor I should give to the presentation moving forward. I'll give 1 or 2 minutes. I hope you can see the box. Okay, for some reason, I don't see any answer. I hope you're there and I'm not just talking by myself. Okay, I'll move forward then. Okay, a little bit about me. My name is Viridiana de la Garza. I'm the CEO of Nearshoring Mexico. I'm going to talk to you about this company later on. But basically, I have more than 20 years of experience working with international companies, helping them to set up nearshore operations in Mexico. I finished, my background is mainly on IT. I studied computer science some years back. Then I did an MBA on business, and 2 years ago I had the opportunity to take a business course in Harvard in Boston. So that can give me a very good understanding in terms of business, in terms of different culture, and as I say, my focus is mainly on operation. My most relevant experience related to this webinar, 2014, we started a company with operations in Mexico, US, and Canada. Main delivery centers were in Canada and Mexico, and we have successfully sold that company in 2021 to a bigger corporation. Then later on in that corporation, I become the COO of Mexico, where I had over 2,000 employees between Mexico, Guadalajara, and Monterrey. Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey, which are the three biggest cities in Mexico. Until here, I'm gonna just turn off my video a little bit so we don't get any distractions and you can see completely the screen of the presentation. Some facts about Mexico, why Mexico is a good destination for investment. Well, as you know, it's geographically located with access to North America, especially, but as well to Europe and Asia, and of course, Latin America. But mainly, you know, it's been one of the great destinations for working with companies in the North of America. Some relevant facts about Mexico. 2021, Mexico was ranked as the #1 of world largest recipient of foreign direct investment and the #5 among developing economies. Mexico has over 31 international investment treaties and double taxation agreements, which are great, you know, for doing international business. One of the most important is the USMCA, which covers US, Mexico, and Canada because of the letters. And this basically was very well known as the NAFTA agreement between these three countries. Especially, this will give you a visa called TM visa, which will let some professionals with a special degree to be moved and work between these three different countries without any issue. In fact, when I live, I didn't mention, but in my early years of experience, I lived in United States for about 7 years using this visa. So it was very easy to get it, very easy to renew, having just the proper documentation. Some of the biggest and largest states in Mexico with highest investments, Nuevo León, Coahuila, Chihuahua, which are more on the north of Mexico, close to the border with US. But Mexico City, as you know, is the capital and is the biggest one. Querétaro is close to Mexico City and is also stepping up into this. And of course, Jalisco, which is known as the Silicon Valley of Mexico. You can think of any IT bigger corporation and for sure they have established delivery centers there. Nuevo León, even though it's not the biggest one in terms of population, it leads with over 4 billion in nearshoring investment. This is just very, very relevant. Compare Mexico with other countries in Latin America is very attractive in terms of economy, in terms of our peso. Yes, it has fluctuation, but it can be called very stable. And of course, the proximity with United States. Mexico has a bunch of international flights where you can just take it, and after a couple of hours, it can be in United States, compared to other countries, South Americas, which is, you know, much larger flights. And the biggest advantage, again, that I will see over other countries is the NAFTA agreement as well. But opening markets to other countries can be complicated, yes. You know, most common challenges I have seen, lack of experience and knowledge about legal and fiscal environment, cultural and linguistic barriers as well, It can be difficult creating a reliable, trustable local team as well. And it can be, it can be take long time and not too efficient to establish operations quickly in Mexico, from setting up the center to do all infrastructure, setting up the company. All of that can be also very time consuming if you don't know the right processes here. To overcome these challenges, I think the proper advice here is to have the right local guidance, and it's better to have a reliable partner that will ensure the proper navigation within the country so you can focus on growth, your operations, and your delivery. Let's go by one, and I'll start giving you here some tips on, tips and general information in case you don't know about Mexico. Tax regulation. This can be a lot of time consuming. Each country has specific rules for taxes, deductions, and audits that can vary significantly. For example, in Mexico, compliance with Treasury is complex just because of all the regulation and the long processes that they have. A very simple example is how to create an invoice. I have worked with United States companies a lot, and as it is as easy as taking a Word document, convert it to PDF, and then you send it. Here in Mexico, you have to have a special software that must be connected to Treasury. So whenever you create an invoice, you have to send it to Treasury through the systems, so the Treasury can certify the invoice, and then after that, you can release the invoice. So, all those kind of regulation can be a lot of time consuming that, you should not worry for those things. Labor requirements as well. Labor regarding working hours, mandatory benefits, and employee severance can be very unfamiliar. I'll give you some examples here or tips as well. Severance. Severance in Mexico, when you let somebody go, the law says that you have to give 3 months of salary plus their correspondent salary and benefits for the date the person worked before the last payroll, plus 20 days of payment for each year that the person worked with you. That's what the law says. What I can tell you, it's 20 days. The 20 days, it's negotiable. In fact, I have seen many companies not really giving this. As long as you complied with the 3 months, that's fine. And still, unfortunately, there might be some cases where your employee might not comply with the work requirements. So that part can still, if you have the right advisors, that part still can be negotiable. I'll tell you, of course, my best advice is to follow the law as should be, but there are some cases where you have to follow as well your processes and your values as a company. Another big topic, transfer pricing. Yes, when you do international transactions, when you open branches in other countries, you have to do transfer pricing studies in order to define an average or percentage of profits. When you do it the first year, even though the second year, this is a tip. You can go by the standard. You don't really need to go through all that painful process at the beginning. You can define the standard and look at the market according to the standard percentage of your profit, and then you can go from there. Contract and intellectual properties. I have seen companies asking me, hey, you know what, employment contracts, this is how it should be, but how about intellectual property? How am I sure that whatever I'm developing in another country, in Mexico, is covered? Well, guess what? The USMCA agreement protects you and your company on these kind of intangible assets and some others just by having this kind of agreement between the different countries. And this is something that not many people know. And of course, very frequent legal changes. For this, my best advice is to have the right advisors. Sometimes, of course, if they work with international companies like you, they need to speak English and they need to have a broad knowledge of those changes and how that will affect international companies. Yes, you can find advisors. Yes, it will be costly because the complexity or because just for the fact that they speak English. And my best advice here is to have, somebody local could be your point of contact who can work with those advisors, local advisors that they might not need to be fluent in English, and the cost could be lower on those cases. Talking about the same topic or in the same environment, talking about financials and fiscal items. Recovering VAT in Mexico. In Mexico, we have a VAT, which is the value added tax, well known as IVA in Mexico. And this applies to goods, services, and imports. This is 16% over the regular price. And not understanding this since the beginning of your setup can really affect your cash flow. There are two ways you can get back that VAT. One, which is the easiest one, if you have businesses in Mexico, meaning you have customers in Mexico, then the VAT that you pay to your vendors, that's the VAT you will compensate with the VAT you recover from your customers. But guess what? There are many companies that only have nearshore presence for labor and do not mean to have businesses in Mexico. So the right way to do it is to actually apply in Treasury to recover that VAT. That can be kind of tedious and long processes. If you are not aware of that, it can take from 3 months to even maybe 1 year if you don't follow the right processes and requirements that the Treasury has. So this is very, very important as well to understand Mexican fiscal system to avoid these errors or delays since the beginning. This is something nobody will actually tell you the moment you come to Mexico. Second challenge, very important, cultural and linguistic barriers. Negotiation and labor relationships in Mexico are influenced by values such as trust and respect. We Mexicans are very alike to US in meaning in working culture. Ethics are first. I have never ever seen a fake interview, like putting somebody on the interview process to pass the interview, and at the end another person joined the company. Never ever in more than 20 years of experience that I have. Notice period is about 2 weeks, very similar than in US and Canada. It's not by law. The law doesn't say anything, but in professional environments, minimum is 2 months, depending of the level of expertise the person has of the job role. That can vary from one to another one. Lack of adaptability. If you don't know the culture, if you don't know what is important for your employees, if you don't understand the body language, or if you don't know how to read a person, that can create those differences that can lead to disconnect with local employees and partners. Mexicans, we are very family oriented still in general. Employees tend to, if you have good relationship with them, I don't have any doubt they will invite you to their houses to meet their family, have dinners with them. Mexicans, we sometimes, the way that we negotiate or stuff like that sometimes is not to go direct, but to have kind of a pre conversations and kind of break the ice in order to come up to then direct points or direct closing deals like that. It's very, very important. I will tell you as a tip, it's very, very important to build those relationships, especially at the beginning, with your initial team. I will recommend to meet your local team in Mexico, to come and visit them, even to get into the interview process and have the time to come and meet them face to face. That will, believe me, save you from attrition a lot. If you build those relationships since the beginning, if you bound with the local teams, that will save you a lot of headaches later on. Third one, difficulty in creating local teams. This goes very similar to topic number 2. How should I hire the right team for me? How should I find the right people that I need? Well, in this case, I will highly recommend you, even though you might have your interview process and all of that, I will highly recommend you to involve a local partner for that. It's not the same. Yes, you will end up hiring maybe a lot of bilingual people, and they can communicate, yes, but it's not the same, especially if you're running the hiring process remotely. It's not the same on how you can read the people, how you can read what they might say between lines when you are on a phone call with them or when you have a video call with them. You can on these cases, my best recommendation is to have local help as well within any part of the process, but at least have somebody who can guide you and be in the middle of the process to help you to, especially that, to identify risk on people or to find where to find the right talent. You might be looking for a very specialized profile where, LinkedIn might not be the only source, but there might be local communities where you can find those people or local events where you can meet them. I think that, will be an extra thing or, something that can make you successful. High employee turnover as well, in competitive markets like Mexico, retaining talent can be tricky if employee expectations aren't fully understood. Be empathic. My tip here is be empathic with the local people. One advice, for example, I can give you is, yes, the law says that you have to pay extra hours. Even on Sundays, if somebody has to work, you have to pay 3x of what you usually pay on regular time. But guess what? If you are empathic with the employees, if you have good relationship, if they are at the professional level, most of the time you can also offer compensation time. So in that way, you end up saving money and you continue trusting and building a good relationship with your employees. Might be easier, just a very simple example, right? Somebody asks you, hey, I need to go to my kids' festival. Nowadays that, holidays are coming. So instead of going by the law and say, no, you're going to miss it, you are going to miss 2 hours of work, I will discount that from your paycheck. You can agree and say like, yes, you can go and cover that. And I will give you, let's worry about compensation time where you can take those or recover that time later on. You gain empathy with your employees and you end up saving money as well. Language and cultural differences can affect team integration. Yes, my recommendation, especially for international companies where they might have branches all over, Mexicans, and I think like many other people in the world, would love to work in international companies where they can experience working with different cultures as well. But it's very, very important to understand first the local culture when you do that. Again, coming to holidays, now in Mexico, employers do Christmas parties for employees. Again, it doesn't say by law that you have to do it. But guess what? This is very, very, very important for employees. Employees expect at what level, whatever level they are, they expect for employer to drop a party, to drop like a dinner, and to actually give some gifts to the employees. This is something, will help you to build those bridges, especially with your employees. Yes, you can do some other activities or stuff like that with vendors as well, and with your customers as well. Holidays is very, very important for Mexicans. Outsourcing in Mexico. Oh my God, this is a topic very, very relevant. Please take note here. I want your full attention here. I heard questions or requirements from foreign companies. Hey, you know what? I will have a project like this. I want to subcontract another company. Let's say you are on manufacturing, and you say, you know what, I don't specialize on this, or I don't have enough bandwidth, let's subcontract another company who can give you extra hands to do it. Bad. In Mexico, unfortunately, that is not possible. But still, yes, you can subcontract, but in 2021, there was a reform on how to work under these schemas. Yes, you can still do it. It's permitted, the subcontracting, but only on specialized services. Basically, not your core activities. So if you are a company that manufacture a specific pieces of a car, and this is what it says on your paperwork, that is your business objective, then you cannot subcontract another company who will do the same. Yes, you can subcontract another company who can do a different part or a small part that you will require that can become like, let's say a chip, a very specialized chip to do it. Yes, then you can do it. Another example, services. Let's say you are at an IT services company. Then you are specialized on software development. And somehow you got a customer requirement to say, hey, I want an SAP professional. Yes, you can still do that, but it will have to be on their fixed price project. It cannot be, as long as the person doesn't, or the people, a team doesn't work in your offices and they are not mandated they are not mandated to do the day-to-day activities by you, you can still do it. There are some requirements that have to be done in terms of registration and stuff like that, but no worries, that is secondary, that is just paperwork that needs to be done. Contractors. Sometimes I heard, you know what, I'm going to have a position for 3 months. Let's hire just a contractor for that, an independent professional. Yes, it can be done. Still, it has some restriction on that. It has to be a temporal project. The contractor is not required or cannot work for you to like regular chief of labor, meaning cannot work 48 hours only for you for several weeks. That the authority will look at it and will say, you know what, he's acting as your employee. He needs to be within your payroll and you have to pay benefits for that. So you have to be careful only on this topic. Yes, it can be done. I think you need to get the right advisors on how it should be done, but yes, it still can be done. Last topic, establishing efficient operations quickly. Sometimes I heard, you know what, we want a floor for 150 people within 6 months. Can it be done? I mean, yes, it can be done, but you need to find a right partner to help you with the local negotiations. Maybe not everyone will speak English, and if they do, the fees you will end up paying might be very, very high. So my best recommendation here is to find a local person who can help you with the negotiation, with the setup of the place, with the setup of your company from legal perspective, registration, getting your employee tax ID and all of that. That's a lot of time consuming, where I don't see, you know, it will be waste of time for international people like you coming and going to all those offices just to get things done. And most of the local people, government people, they do not speak English. So it's very, very relevant to find somebody who can help you with those things. Very important, relationships. It's very important to build relationships with government, with local communities, getting to know how the local market is. It's key. With this, you can have access to financial and tax incentives. The moment that you decide what state you want to work with or in, we can help you to find if government has any incentives on that moment, what are the requirements. Unfortunately, I have seen such as great programs where not many companies are related or familiar, and they decide just to pass on it. Or, you know, they might not even decide because they are not even aware of these incentives. I have done it for several companies before, and it has worked. Another great advantage, you have access to key information and relevant news about what is going on in the country. And, you know, opportunities for public visibility in initiatives. You know, this is great. Is not cost, not related to money, but it's very important. Government can help you to promote your company, can put you in front of the press in order to make press releases on when you will start, what kind of people you will hire, what kind of sales you're doing, and stuff like that. There are clusters for each industry in Mexico that where you can also relate to and generate leads in case you're looking for expand your businesses in Mexico. As I say, local communities as well. So it's very, very, very important to build those relationships when you are in Mexico. And well, what are the key key secrets for success until now? I will focus on 3 main ones. Leverage trade agreements. It's very, very important, and not many companies know about it, especially if you're working with countries in US, Canada. It's very important to understand the USMCA agreement and take advantage of all the benefits you can get here. Build an extensive trade network. Second one, find a strategic hubs for your industry. It's very important to do an assessment of, you know, between the 31 states that Mexico has, where you want to be. And maybe it's not only one, maybe you can start with one, but maybe you can open later on. There are tiers 1 cities such as Monterrey, Mexico City, Guadalajara, but there are others, tier 2, where, you know, it will be more cost effective, but it will, you know, to take such a decision, you need to understand what those states can offer. And very important, understand the working culture. build strong relationships, and create your network. It's very important. Employees, vendors, government, local teams, hubs, and clusters as well. That will give you, the open doors and will give you benefits. If you do it since the beginning, it will give you a lot of benefits moving forward. So what is the action plan here if you want to invest in Mexico? Well, one, conduct an initial viability assessment. Can you do it? Is it right the place for you? If it's not, or what are the challenges you will see since the beginning? Don't go blind. Just first of all, don't take a decision of not coming just on the initial hurts that you hear on the news or what you find on the internet. My best recommendation by conducting an initial feasibility assessment is to come to the country. Second one, when you are ready, develop a strategic plan that will cover talent, infrastructure, and business needs. That will, show you the timeline and everything that you will need in order to make it happen. And the third one, and most important, is consider allies like us to facilitate your expansion. I will keep saying, and not this because I want to promote my company, is because it's the right way to do it. Don't do it by yourself. It's gonna be painful. It's gonna be time consuming and will distract you from your main business. So do find the right partner, find the right local people who can make it happen. What would be the right, honestly, the right or the full solution that I would recommend? Well, the value proposition here, do it following a BOT model. That will be the best. But what is BOT? BOT is actually a model that says build, operate, and transfer. Basically, while you, again, I will keep repeating this because it's very important, while you focus on your business, whatever it is, you can have a partner who can help you to build your company, initiate the setup of the company, hire the right talent for you, go through all the processes, internal processes of regulation, and build a team for you. Then after that, it will be the operate phase, where basically it will follow between 12 to maybe 18 months, where it's gonna run the company. Again, this will be like HR, finance, CPA, and all that you need from operations perspective. That will be during that phase to run on it. I haven't said it before, but it's very important to do vendor management when you are in Mexico. And one of the greatest advantages of this model is a shared services model. What exactly is this? Instead of you hire full-time people for HR, full-time CPA, full-time person accounting for bookkeeping, with this model, you can have a shared services where you only pay a portion of those services, but that they will get to know your operations very well. Instead of having external advisors where they might only give you general information without knowing you as a company, this will be a model that will help you to save a lot of money. And at the end, transfer. When you feel you are right and to take over, in that moment, the transfer phase starts. It's giving you back the operations of your company and you run them by your own. Of course, there is a transition phase here to make sure it's a smooth transition and will not affect. I have seen companies, especially IT companies, this model works for any industry. Phases and variants will have depending on the industry. What I have seen is IT companies have reduced implementation time but half using the BOT model, enabling scalable, risk-free operations from day one. All challenges can be solved by working with a reliable partner like us, who understand the local environment and guide you at every step. So, but who we are, I'm just talking here. I have been talking for about 40 minutes. Well, nearshoring Mexico. I created this company a year ago. I have an excellent team working with me. We are a company that provides professional solution throughout a flexible business model. We actually specialize on this model, bill, operate, transfer for you. We help companies like you to come to Mexico. We help you to take those risks away and help you to establish your operations here in Mexico. We help you to find the right advantages and to take advantages of all the benefits that not everyone knows, including a large pool of skilled professional graduates, a strong infrastructure, and of course, Mexico gives the great advantage to be close to United States. Our services, I will see if you ask me, why you and not others. Well, I think when you are thinking on BOT, you need to have a reliable partner. Somebody that you can trust, somebody that will have integrity, that will give priority to your business, that will give the attention that you need to make things happen. So I will start here. I have been talking a lot. I'm going to actually put my screen and my camera again so you can see me. I'm going to make a stop here. I'm going to give you, we have 10 minutes left for the session. I can continue talking and talking, but now, I don't want to feel alone. So please feel free to raise your questions. Let's go to that. We're going to open. I think there was again, you can open and post your questions. On the bottom of your screen, there are several icons. The second one, it says activities. Go ahead and click there where it says question and answer. Okay, I see some questions here. First one, it says, how can we get clients from United States? Well, I'm assuming you are in Mexico and you want to have some exposure to United States. In my experience, there are, depending of your industry, there are events, expos where you can go and present Mexico on your services. I have done that before in Silicon Valley, in Texas. Texas is very close to Mexico, and they are very familiar with Mexico. Chicago as well. I think that you can look into that and try to find some events where you can do that. Same way I have been repeating, having a local partner here. I will give you the same advice as well. Have a local partner in United States who can help you to expand. I think, local people will help you to look and find more customers to grow as well. There are some localized partners in Mexico that offer EOR services to operationalize aspects like onboarding, HR, and payroll. What is your perspective on those type of companies and services? Employment, I will say you're referring to employment of I see what you mean. Employment of, I forgot the meaning of the last one. Those companies are giving you an extra service. Most of the time, they will put people on their payroll. You have to be very careful different to VOT. VOT is to have, we will create the payroll for you. The model is to create the payroll for you and hire the people under your payroll is your employees, are your employees. Compared to the model that is described here, the vendor will put their will put the people on their payroll and will be different. It's different. They are not employees. They are contractors. In this case, my only recommendation will be to be very careful on the outsourcing law to make sure you don't fall into issues and might end up paying a big fees because you're doing at the front of I understand the model and it's very common in United States or other countries. In Mexico, you just need to be very careful with the outsourcing law. Do you support small startups to get clients in what way? Not really. My focus is not to expand your businesses and to try to find customers. I can give you advices. The BOT model is basically more focused on operate. I can give you advices. I can help you to create a sales team in Mexico, but I'm not a lead generation company. From your vision, what are the potential markets for expand nearshore in Mexico? I don't think I understand completely the question here. If you can elaborate a little bit more about what exactly do you mean? Let me read it again. From your vision, what are the potential markets for expand nearshore in Mexico? Maybe you mean what industry to expand nearshore in Mexico? If that's the question, I have seen a bunch of, I think most common are manufacturing and professional services. Professional services can be any, right? So it can be IT services, it can be staff services, it can be specialized on a specific area, specialization as well. I see a lot of, news, and even though I actually live in the state of Coahuila, very close to Nuevo León, and I have seen a lot of advertising about nearshoring, come to the north of Mexico, and that refers a lot into the manufacturing industry. It says Indian here in Mexico. Yes, if that's a question or a confirmation, yes, I know there are several Indian companies in Mexico with that has work and given visa to be in Mexico. It is a new startup for IT training, recruiting, and nearshore staffing argumentation. I don't know if that's you're asking me for recommendation or something. That I really don't know. Mexico, as you clearly say, has a lot of international companies. And well, you can find recruitments, companies or startup for IT training, for recruitment, and for staff argumentation. Just again, be careful with the staffing argumentation and not to fall into issues with the outsourcing laws in Mexico. I'm going to make a stop here. There are a few other questions that are posed. We will follow up with you guys just to try to finish on time the session. I will invite you to schedule a meeting with us. Please scan the QR code or click on the link that is here. It will send you directly to my calendar, or you can reach out to me. This is my email address. Just remember, just as a highlight, so to summarize this session, all these challenges have solution when working with a proven model like BOT. Nearshoring Mexico has both local and global experience to overcome each of these challenges. Now you are familiar with the challenges and opportunities that Mexico offers. The question isn't in whether you should expand here, but how you can do it efficiently and strategically. Our goal, Nearshoring Mexico goal, is to become your partner, ensuring a smooth transition and tangible results from day one. Go ahead, schedule some meetings. We will be happy to be in contact with you and continue talking to you in a more personalized way. I will just make a stop here. Thanks everyone for your time, for joining this session. I really, really hope it was useful for you. It's, sometimes 1 hour is not enough, and I say I can continue talking and talking. Several experiences I can share. I'm happy to share several experiences on how you can improve your business, or what kind of challenges, and how brainstorming of what will be the right solutions for you. Thank you so much for your time. I know it's valuable time for everyone. Thanks for the time to join this session, and we'll be happy to be in touch with all of you. Thank you so much. Have an excellent day. Bye-bye.